We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. The U.S. Supreme Court declined the case challenging schools respecting a trans student's identity without parental notice. This decision signals a continued support for student privacy protections nationwide.
HUD proposes a rule removing LGBTQ protections in shelters. It would force placement in such facilities based on biological sex, raising safety concerns for trans people amid already high homelessness rates.
An AI-generated drag promo shared by the Pride Center is drawing backlash from drag queens who say it's inauthentic and exclusionary.
House Republicans push the Protect Kids Act, requiring parental consent for gender identity recognition in schools. Critics, including the Human Rights Campaign, warn it mirrors Don't Say Gay laws targeting LGBTQ youth.
Pennsylvania House of Representatives passes a bill aiming to block extremist communities and expand LGBTQ protections. Bill now heads to the Senate with a Republican majority.
All this important LGBTQ plus news and a whole lot more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily news television show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 12 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ plus brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in our rainbow community.
There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Wednesday, April 29th. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine Happening Out Television Network.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this very table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ plus community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome my favorite TriniDaddy into the table, TriniDaddy. Hey. He's a violinist, a pianist with the Miami City Ballet. He's also the program director for the Seminole Theater Players in Homestead. Trini, Dance in the Gardens will light up Pinecrest on May 9th. Tell us what's happening out.
Experience an enchanting evening of movement and music at Dance in the Gardens on Saturday, May 9th at 8 p.m. at the Banyan Bowl in Pinecrest Gardens. Presented by Dimensions Dance Theater of Miami, this debut performance features a vibrant neoclassical program inspired by South Florida's tropical beauty. Audiences will enjoy works like In Bloom, Four Seasons, Vow, Apollo and Daphne, and Arcadia. Founded by Carlos Guerra and Jennifer Cronenberg, this acclaimed company blends innovation with cultural storytelling. Tickets and details are available at pinecrestgardens.org. Join under the stars for a captivating night of dance. So I personally will be playing an Apollo and Daphne, which is two of the dancers. It's this kind of little love situation happening, and there's a violinist and pianist on stage at the Banyan Bowl, and the two of us are kind of playing this really reflective, beautiful piece. It's called Mirror in Mirror, and the two dancers are doing some of the most beautiful choreography, and it's locally, I believe, I'm not sure who choreographed it, if it was somebody in the dance company or if it was somebody abroad, but they are the hottest dance group around. For me, they do more theatrical types of dance, so it's not just like ballet like you would see at a ballet company. They do all kinds of all out of the box type stuff. Wonderful choreographers, wonderful company, and a wonderful setting. If you've never been to Pinecrest Gardens at the Banyan Bowl, I just did probably the last 2 weekends I was there with other companies doing programs, and the weather is still great.
Yeah.
So we probably only have it for another maybe 2 weekends that it's going to be beautiful like this. So please get your tickets to go and support the arts, be in this beautiful space and watch this beautiful dance.
The dance company is Dimensions. Who are they?
Yes, so it was started by Carlos and Jennifer, Carlos Guerra, Jennifer Cronenberg, who are the it couple in Miami City Ballet.
Oh,
fell in love, had a baby, all of that stuff, married, and then they decided to start their own company and do their own thing. And
I thought that was their baby, was the dance company.
It's funny.
Amazing,
They have such a
though.
beautiful daughter who's like 40 years old, but she's actually like, I don't know, 10 or something. Yeah, she tells me things all the time.
Well, I love that you always bring these incredibly culturally diverse, beautiful events to the table every time you sit with us, you know, and there is no better backdrop than Pinecrest Gardens. If you've never been able to be there, and like Trini said, like, it's gorgeous when you get to do this outside. And right now the weather is so perfect for that, you know, and it's May 9th at the Pinecrest Gardens. Like Trini said, by the end of May, it'll be 100 degrees and you won't be able to do these things outside anymore, you know, and this is what we need to like make our hearts smile and make our hearts dance, excuse me.
Yes,
you know?
yes. We need a distraction from a lot of what's going on to recharge.
I love that. Well, Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at the Dance in the Gardens on May 9th. Let's welcome back to the table mi amigo John Hayden. A journalist for 31 years, he now focuses on hyper-local reporting, covering LGBTQ plus issues everywhere. You name it, he's covering it. And you can see all his reports at Greater Wilton Manors on YouTube and Facebook. So John, a local singer who we love is coming to Gray Box Theater. You got to tell us what's happening out.
That's not what's happening out, it's who's happening out. Matthew Darren is happening out. He's debuting his new show next Saturday, May 9th, at the Gray Box Theater. It's all in advance of his upcoming album, which is supposed to hit in September. And he talked with me about his new single, and I have an exclusive clip of the world premiere performance for you. Check it out. Now, there were many highlights of the show. I'm not going to lie. Most of them did not involve shirts. But for me, one of the best moments when you made your first live performance anywhere of your new song, My Better Judgment.
Yeah.
I've got a little clip of it. Let's check it out.
My better judgment screaming no. My body's begging, let it go. I should know by now, I should rise above, but I'm drunk on the danger, addicted to love. My better judgment, side of sight, guess I'll pay for it come daylight.
All right, so that was fun. That was rockin'. Tell me a little bit about that song.
You know, it's fairly self-explanatory. You've ever walked into a space or been in a space where someone or something has caught your attention so much that you just kind of like lose the control over what you think you should be doing, and you just kind of like, it's almost like getting hypnotized into a moment. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. That was a really fun interview, and I'm really looking forward to the show. Gray Box is such a fun new venue.
Yes.
That clip you saw was him performing at one of his other productions that he did earlier this month. So go check it out. Gray Box on May 9th. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that Matthew Darren does is amazing. He's exceptional. You know, I am hosting this thing on Mondays at Aquaplex, and it's called Aqua Idol, and he's one of the judges, right? And you've got to hear like his beautiful techniques and advice for these upcoming singers. You know, little things that you wouldn't think of, but I mean, his experience just comes through. You know, and I get to see him flick his hair around, which I so enjoy. You know what I mean? Like, I've been telling him he needs to just do a show where he just stands on stage and
then you get the whiff of his smell.
Yeah, he smells good too.
Well, there is one song on there that I really like because I heard it on his Facebook, and he was workshopping it, writing it. He's like, "What do you guys think?" And I listened to it. I was like, "This is one of the most beautiful, powerful songs for the political sphere." And it's just something about coming together, and the lyrics of it are so beautiful. And I think just for that, I want to go and hear it, and I think you guys should too.
Matthew, and Trini hates everything. So the fact that he said that is like huge, amazing. All right, folks at home, download Matthew Darren's new single on Spotify and get him some clicks because he totally deserves it, right?
Yeah.
He's amazing. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you all at Matthew Darren's new show on May 9th at Gray Box Theater. Let's welcome back to the table anchor Gil Pontes. Gil is a relationship-driven nonprofit executive and political strategist, currently executive director of the Next Gen Chamber of Commerce, formerly with Options Magazine. He brings decades of experience in LGBTQIA plus advocacy, development, services, and grassroots fundraising. Welcome back to the show, Gil. How you doing? How you feeling? How you shaking?
I am doing pretty good. I thought we were cutting off.
How is your week going, Gil?
Everything's going pretty good. You know, I always say one of my former mentors I had there decided to always lead the day with, I woke up on this side of the dirt. It's a good day. So you know what? I woke up on this side of the dirt. It's a good day.
I like that. All right. Well, Gil, thank you so much for being back at the table with us here at Queer News Tonight.
Absolutely.
Let's welcome back to the table Jason Nunez. That's Nunez. Okay, that's the N with the little thing at the top. If you don't know how to say it, ask your Latino friends. Jason Nunez. All right. Jason is a trailblazing leader, passionate entrepreneur, and fierce advocate for equality. He's the CEO of Go Digital Hero, a fractional COO enterprise. Jason is also the director of programming at the Miami-Dade LGBTQ plus and allied Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Lisette. He also serves on many boards, including Flockfest. And hey, invite him to be on your board. He'll be on your board. He's on 15 boards at this point. All right. Welcome back to the show, Jason. How you feeling, babe?
I'm feeling good.
Yes?
So lots of April feels like a whirlwind. I joined the Miami Chamber earlier this year. Boots on the ground, running.
Of course.
In April, we started off with the Mega Mixer, and then we transitioned into all of the Pride events. And you know the 10 days of Pride in Miami Beach. Still catching up on sleep from that. And then we had our Legends Gala this past weekend, all while also having our Hospitality Council meeting and our Real Estate Council meeting. And there's just so many things that are happening. And somehow I do manage to make it on boards and sit here with you wonderful people at the table.
Yeah, and we do appreciate that, so.
Priorities.
Yeah. I know that you folks are having another mixer, so I'm telling folks to be following the chamber because there's always fun stuff going on, right?
Absolutely. So this month we have quite a few events going on. We have the Women's and Queer Council having a breakfast at IKEA. So that goes to show the IKEA partnership that we have with the community.
I love that people.
Yes.
Right? What time? Yes. We also have the Real Estate Council meeting coming up, and that is specifically at Sirhunt. So from Ryan Sirhunt's company from $1 Million Listing.
Yeah.
So we'll be showcasing that in Coconut Grove. MDGLCC.com. We have tons of events across the board for any business member and allied in our community. We're here to help you grow, and I'm exhausted already.
I was going to ask you, are you taking care of yourself, Papi? Because you're on the Gil diet. Look at you. You're like mad skinny now.
Yeah. I am. April, I did not.
Okay.
But I am slowly taking care of myself. I want to thank Wendy DeLuca over at the at the Carillon Wellness Spa. At her latest Hospitality Council meeting, she was like, not that you look tired, but you should probably come for a day pass.
And you were like, hell yeah, you
and
were
I'm
there
like-
the next day.
I'm like, say no more. No, I am taking care of myself. The commute from Wilton down across the border to Miami is a lot.
Don't look at me, bitch. I do it every day.
I
so
know.
I don't know.
I know. It's literally, I feel like we're in passing and I'm like, hey, Faye. And you're like, hey, Jason. And you keep going. But no, thank you. I am taking care of myself. And it is a boundary. It's a non-negotiable that I have decided to do and make a priority this year, because last year I did not do that.
Good. We'll make sure that everybody follows the chamber. And we are so happy, Jason, to have you back at the table at Queer News Tonight.
Thank you.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, FayWhat. She is a legendary events host, television and radio personality, and the host of Hotspot's Happening Out's The FayWhat Show. Faye, Love Wins 5K run takes place on May 3rd. Tell me, what's happening now?
Yes, well, the front runners Love Wins 5K returns to Wilton Manors on Sunday, May 3rd. That's this Sunday coming up, okay? So bringing energy, pride, and community spirit to the iconic Wilton Drive. This 3.1-mile race welcomes runners and walkers of all backgrounds and abilities, celebrating South Florida's diversity and a shared message of inclusion, kindness, and love. Participants can expect a vibrant morning filled with cheering crowds, and the first 300 registrants will receive race shirts, and the first 300 finishers will earn medals, okay? Join the celebration and be part of this inspiring community event. Learn more and register at frwfl.org, okay? I was like not in until they added the walkers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, big shout out going out to the very gorgeous, handsome advocate, activist, Mr. Chris Caputo, our commissioner also, and our vice mayor in Wilton Manors, who, spearheaded this event and loves to work out and loves all about, a running club and stuff like that. And, there's always folks that are like, oh, it's hard to meet people, oh, I don't want to go to the bars all the time. This is your chance to go and do something early morning with a couple hundred of your closest friends, all get sweaty and nice right on Wilton Drive. I mean, who's gonna not want to do this?
So wait, you're saying that people have trouble meeting someone, so you're sending them to an event where people will literally be running away from them?
Well, I mean, wouldn't you be used to that already? No.
Is it running away or is it technically chasing?
It's not. It's come on, boo, keep up. Come on.
Are you going to be running?
I'm going to be walking, Trini. I said I'm walking. What part of that?
The whole time
running.
you're reading the story, I was just picturing Faye in like her 80s workout gear, like Olivia
heels,
Newton-John,
and heels,
and like
right?
running down.
With the headband. You can't forget the
exactly.
headband.
Xanadu.
Yes. Oh, Xanadu.
Oh my gosh. So I love this. I tell people that I'm going to do a 5K, not a 3.1 mile race.
Sounds like more.
Sounds like more, and it makes it more impactful.
5,000 miles.
Oh, that's no. 5K. That's a lot. But no, this is an opportunity for physical fitness, spiritual fitness, social fitness, and it's another avenue of the arts and ways that we can just let go and be free and be distracted for at least. If you're walking 2 hours, if you're me, 3.
Well, look, and what they said was that the first 300 are getting a t-shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the first 300 finishers. So I probably won't finish, okay?
You'll have the shirt.
But I'll have the shirt. But I'll have
but
the
you
shirt.
win.
And trust me, my social media posts will say that I finished.
Oh, and there are people on the sidelines to cheer you on. So
Yes.
sure, you can be there if you don't want to run or
Yes.
you don't want to walk. Just be there, and that's where you can meet people.
Of
You know,
course.
when you're just cheering and being happy and stuff. So Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Love Wins 5K run on May 3rd.
I'm FayWhat, and let's queer up students and youth culture. Supreme Court stands by trans students. Won't hear Florida school dispute. The U.S. Supreme Court declined to review a Florida lawsuit that challenged a school's decision to respect the transgender student's name and pronouns without notifying parents. The case, Little John versus School Board of Leon County, centered on a Tallahassee middle school student who at age 13 asked school staff to use a different name and they/them pronouns. School officials followed district guidance, creating a support plan that affirmed the student at school without immediate parental notification. Florida-based parents, January and Jeffrey Littlejohn, sued the school board, calling it a secret gender transition plan and arguing the school violated their constitutional rights. Their petition claimed the district had secretly driven a wedge into the parent-child relationship and unlawfully usurped the parent's role. Lower courts sided with the school district. A federal judge dismissed the lawsuit, and the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld that decision, stating the school's actions did not constitute a constitutional violation or shock the conscience. The court emphasized that officials sought to support the student, not harm the family. The Supreme Court's refusal to hear this case follows a similar decision last week involving a Massachusetts dispute over student privacy. Together, the decision suggests this court is not currently inclined to impose a nationwide rule requiring schools to disclose students' gender identity to parents. The ruling comes amid a political debate in Republican-led states, including Florida, where parental notification policies and restrictions on transgender students remain central issues. Well, look at that. The court said not today to policying pronouns. Imagine that. Respecting a young person's identity is not a national emergency. Sometimes support isn't scandalous. It's just being human.
Well, and human. So obviously Republicans will have none of that. So the Supreme Court is basically not saying anything. They're basically not prohibiting states from telling schools they have to intervene in families and out the kids to their parents, but they're not saying that they're prohibited. They're not saying that they have to. They're just kind of letting it go, like so many of our rights right now. Now trans kids have to get up and do a secret search every morning on Westlaw and see if they're protected in their particular school district. Mm-hmm. It's getting so frightening because it's not just election to election. It's not just state to state. Now you cross county into county. You go into school district 1, school district 2. It's so frightening out there, but at least this decision or this lack of decision doesn't harden the discussion, right? Mm-hmm. It's still putting out there fluidity and the possibility for continued discussion, which I guess is a win.
Gil?
And I think one of the things you're looking at here, and I found it very interesting, the parents are talking about the wedge being driven into the relationship, when the real people driving in the wedge here are the parents. Quite frankly, as somebody whom, and I think all of us have gone through the coming out journey, we all know the strenuous mental toll that it can take on each and every one of us. The problem is when it's families that are causing the wedge between themselves. Yep. When it isn't legislation, when it isn't the court, when it comes down to what we talk about at our kitchen tables, the values we instill in our children, the fact that our children don't feel that they can be open with us about their gender expression, that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily what the Leon County School District is doing. It starts right at home in the fact that the parents are driving already a wedge that they don't even know that they're driving into their child based on the conversations that are happening at the dinner table.
Yeah, that's
we
the
can
wedge.
talk public policy, we can do all this stuff, but it all starts at conversations we have at our dinner tables. And it's about how we make our children feel in our home.
They want to sue the school board. How about having a talk with your child? You know what I mean? How about sitting there and maybe, doing that? Jason, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the simplest of conversations. It's literally like, sit at the kitchen table, sit at the island, like meet them at the park. Have those conversations so that the kids know what to expect. So when they start hearing everything, they know they at least have a safe space. And I mean, everything starts at home. Like everything starts at home. It could also end at home, but everything starts at home.
Yeah.
So I've been a teacher for 25 years. So I deal with kids asking me all the time to use a different name. I don't ever really ask questions as to what that name, why they chose that name. Sometimes they use a name that's like, Ghost, or they might a Mellow or something like that. I don't know if it's because it's a shortened version of their name, if it's their middle name, if it's something that their family has, they call them, it's their nickname. And it's not my place to ask them those questions. If they ask me to say they, I can do that. That's a gender neutral pronoun. So I'm not calling male, female, female, male. I'm not doing any of that for the parent to have an issue with me misgendering them or something. It's a neutral thing. Is Jamie over there? Yeah, they're over there. I can say that. That's not my place to have any kind of conversation with a student about their sexuality or their gender expression, because that student may not want to have that conversation with me, right?
100%.
So unless there's something destructive or a disruptive behavior going on, in which I would refer that to the school counselor if something like that was happening, and the school counselor will make the decision after speaking with the student if that's a safe thing for them to, talk to the parent about, or if the student says this is an unsafe environment in my home. So the court rightfully, held up the decision that it is not in violation of the parents, rights. However, there is a flip side to it as well, and I think that all of you are probably would be welcoming of a child if you have children, if they were in this kind of transition phase in their mind, right? And so I think if it does cross the line maybe into we're calling them a girl and they're a boy, and we're using that kind of language, and you didn't know that, as liberal people who would be embracing them, you'd probably want to know that as well. And I think it's just where the school counselor decides to draw that line. It's not the teacher.
Well said, Trini.
I'm TriniDaddy, and let's queer up the USA view. The Trump administration proposes a rollback of LGBTQ plus housing protections. A new rule from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development would eliminate protections based on gender identity and sexual orientation, introduced under Barack Obama. It would instead require federally funded shelters to house people according to what it defines as their biological sex, even in states where local laws prohibit this. The proposal also removes a 2016 safeguard banning shelters from asking invasive questions or requiring proof related to a person's body or medical history. Under the new rule, grant recipients, subrecipients, owners, operators, managers, and providers under HUD programs can request, quote, the ability to require reasonable assurances and evidence to confirm the sex of an individual, end quote, though it does not clarify what that means. Critics warn the changes could enable harmful practices and increase risks for trans people who already face higher rates of homelessness. The policy relies on Executive Order 14168 and frames the changes as measures to protect women and religious freedom. The proposal will now enter a public comment phase. Well, I don't know how much religious freedom is entering the chat when we're talking about homeless people trying to get into a shelter. I'm always a little bit torn on this, and because I don't know the details of every shelter. I do think that maybe in some shelters where they have a lot of people sharing a space where they're changing together, I think maybe that could cause some distress among, let's just say, cisgendered females who are maybe a little uncomfortable with some other people that are in that space, and vice versa. And I think it just is a case-by-case basis. I think every shelter should have a person who makes the call on what makes other people feel comfortable in that situation. I do think that it does disproportionately affect trans people
and black and brown people.
Yeah, and I think that in those spaces, most people probably don't care if they're homeless and they're just trying to stay alive. They're trying to get food, their basic necessities. I can't imagine that they care as much as these lawmakers are trying to make it out that they care. It's more of a discriminatory thing. But I do think there are probably some cases where it might make a difference depending on what the space looks like. So I think there should be somebody at every shelter that makes that decision, and it shouldn't be a blanket law on every shelter receiving funding.
I think every shelter works differently, just depending on where their guidelines, right? So, like for Miami, they don't have a space separate for women and children. Everybody's just together. You know what I mean? So, if that's your last line, if you're going to a shelter, you at least deserve some dignity, right? And I don't think that you should be going through the door and it's like drop your pants. I mean, it just seems like you're taking away the humanity when someone's asking for some help.
Exactly. No one going to a shelter is having their best day.
Yes.
Nobody going to a shelter or not, nobody going to a shelter is pretending to be trans so they can get a quick look or cop a feel or assault someone. No athlete is trying to pretend to be trans so that they can get a medal and show that off for the rest of their life, even if they do very likely peak in high school. The fact is, this is just another blatant, transparent bit of queer baiting, of fag bashing coming out of this Trump administration. There are few dots and they're incredibly easy to connect. Now you don't feel safe going to a shelter. So what do? You stay out on the streets. What happens on the streets? Assaults, sexual assaults, and death.
And death.
And suicide. This is just removing another layer of protection that's going to lead to more blood on our sidewalks, more victims every single day, and more names to be read at Trans Day of Remembrance every other year. This is vile.
The way that I'm looking at this from a public policy perspective, this is obviously going to end up in the courts. I think that we're going to end up in a situation where, quite frankly, we're going to go back to relitigating, potentially, if we're continuing to go down this road. I want you to really think about the fact that we're going to be relitigating the CRA of 1965. I want you to really think about the fact that that's the road we're going down here, because we're already talking about discrimination in public accommodations. You're already going down the road of challenging the Civil Rights Act. This is going to get very scary very fast for people, and we quite frankly have to gear up, because this is going to get a whole lot bigger than just LGBTQ housing and public accommodations. I do think that there could be a potential case to be looked at when it comes down to the Civil Rights Act, and I think we need to, quite frankly, I'm not somebody who curses on the air, but that's the type of stuff that scares me shitless.
Well, I think it scares many people. I mean, the whites only signs could not only be in our past, but could be in our freaking future. And that is some scary shit. There, I said it for you.
Hey everyone, I'm John Hayden, and let's queer up South Florida and Florida. AI-generated drag promo sparks backlash ahead of the Pride Center's brunch. The event at Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood promises jaw-dropping performances, a gourmet brunch, and an open bar. Festivities will include a cocktail reception at 11:30, followed by a drag show till 3-ish. Drag time. However, the promotional video features a fictional AI-created drag queen, and it's drawing backlash from some performers. Real-life drag queen London Adore is not having it and posted, quote, "AI drag promotion is not the right move. Please consider using promo photos and videos of any and all entertainers that will be in the actual show. This queen does not exist, nor does anyone who can walk on air." Now, this afternoon, I talked with Pride Center CEO Robert Boo, who said, quote, "It's an animated ad to get attention and draw attention to the brunch," end quote. Online commenters are split over this particular instance of AI, but it's opening a door to a conversation, a broader conversation about how AI is used in media. And, you know, this is, when I was talking with Robert Boo, I sort of brought the analogy that, like, obviously people aren't floating on air like this particular this thing. It's like when the Super Bowl is coming around and you see two helmets, come together out of the side and fight it out, or have, it's kind of in that vein.
It's a graphic.
It's a graphic.
Yeah.
I see, though, why you would want to promote the actual performers that are going to be in this.
Well, and they do have also, please state that.
They do have promos, still pictures, flyers. They are promoting the hell out of this with the actual performers. But the fact is, AI is a blessing and a curse. People aren't graphic designers. People in nonprofits generally are not graphic designers by trade. They're community activists, and that's the way it should be. So this helps them. AI, in my particular life, I don't use it. My main attribute is that I can be in the room where things are happening and be able to give my firsthand report. But when the government drops like 3 million documents from the Epstein files, that's called malicious overcompliance, and no one person or team is going to be able to go through them. AI can. So, there are two sides to this coin, and I see both of them.
And it's tough. Nicole Hallowell, who is another incredible queen, has a lot of years under her belt, and I truly respect her. She's one of my top queens, my go-to queens, because she's so smart, an incredible entrepreneur, etc. And she had posted a couple of weeks back saying, use real queens, or use real queen. Some real queens that you have in your shows are actual graphic designers themselves. You know what I mean? Like, we have gotten so used to in our community that there's like 300 of us doing the job of 3,000. Okay. And those 300, myself included, John included, Jason included, Trini included, Gil included, have to do 5 different jobs, things that we never had to do, like learn Canva. You know what I mean? Like, this is, please, Gil, take over.
Here's how I like to put it as somebody who works in the nonprofit sphere, and I know I'm joined in great company here. And as somebody who's run a nonprofit, I know you have. When we say the word chief executive officer, when in all reality in our cases, it meant being chief everything officer. So in all reality, we're
100%.
having to define our days between raising money to make sure that we get paid, make sure our event's happening. We need to make sure that we're doing our comms and our digital. We need to make sure we're doing marketing. We need to make sure that we're doing full P&L ownership. At the end of the day, we are doing a lot. So it's at the end of the day, I understand the qualms about AI. Everybody has had qualms about it. I've had it, but I'm also somebody who uses it to help leverage other parts of my business while I can focus on building digital content and all of that. So it's keeping the keen use of ethical use of AI, but also remembering your nonprofit practitioners, we do get tired, and we are doing a lot. So just be easy on us while we're
I
trying to
think
do
we
it.
all understand both sides of the coin. I just think what she did was a little tacky, okay? Because having understood, and she probably herself has done a lot of her own promotion. Almost every drag queen is doing a lot of their own promotion and having to figure out how to make graphics and all this kind of stuff, right? If there these organizations need your support, right? And they need you to continue hiring the queen so we don't take money away from doing all this advertising so we can hire you there, right? I've been in the situation where I had to come up with promos real quick, right? And if I had the luxury of time to ask all of the people who knows how to do this, maybe they would have said, there's just this one extra button on Canva. If you just did this, you could put our picture there or something. Awesome. That constructive criticism would help if you could just contact me personally and say, hey, this is an easy way to do that, and it would be great for the community.
Yeah.
But when you do it publicly and it's like, you're trying to make it seem like you're the social justice warrior and I'm standing up for this. It's like you're just trying to get attention instead of actually trying to help with the problem. So I don't really like the way that they were going about it. And walking on air, you know what? They have y'all walking on air all the time when it's your actual photos with your editing too. So that was just a snarky dig. I don't like it. Choose your words better, contact them directly, and you know what? Maybe you'll see some change.
AI is not going anywhere as much as we want to say that, right? When it first popped up, it was like, oh, I'm not going to use that, right? And then now everyone uses it. If you're not using it, you've got a problem, right? Because again, those same 300 people are doing the job of 3,000, right? And so, so for that reason, I mean, should all the flyers look the same? No. Should you take a moment to maybe look at that? Yes, because you can tell if you follow a lot of nonprofits, you can tell that all the flyers start looking the same because they're all using the same AI, so some variation would be good. You know what I mean? I don't fault the Pride Center for this. I really don't. I think that they were just trying to maybe just do something real quick, and then it kind of got it got away from them, and the thing is that in this community, you're going to get called out on your shit. We don't sit down. We don't sit around and just let you be. You know what I mean? And Robert Boone knows that. You know what I mean? And he's also the first person that he would like to hear it. Like Trini said, I would think that he would want to know about it.
I'm Gil Pontes, and let's queer up students and youth culture. House Republicans push nationwide Don't Say Gay bill. House Republicans are advancing a sweeping education proposal which critics say mirrors state-level Don't Say Gay laws like the one in Florida, which restrict classroom discussions on sexual orientation and gender identity. HB 2616, or Protect Kids Act, was introduced by Tim Wahlberg and co-sponsored by Burgess Owens, Mary Miller, Robert Audner, and Kevin Kiley. The bill would require federally funded public elementary and middle schools to obtain parental consent before recognizing any change in a student's gender expression. Discussed during a House Rules Committee hearing on Tuesday, the proposal applies to schools receiving funding under the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965. It mandates parental approval before updating gender markers, pronouns, or preferred name, or allowing access to facilities aligned with a student's gender identity. A related measure, HB 2617, would bar federal funds from supporting gender ideology. There's also a bill making its way through the Senate with the same text. David Stacey of the Human Rights Campaign said, despite many pressing issues facing our nation, House Republicans continue their bizarre obsession with trans people, and I think that quote says it best. We are looking at an affordability crisis, a healthcare crisis. We're looking at a burgeoning war in Iran, instability in the Middle East, and we are right now talking about trans students using bathrooms, or gender assignment, or general policy regarding... I'm sorry, but if I'm looking at this as an average everyday American who's literally having to make choices about paying either for your health care or for your food, this isn't on the top of our minds. At the end of the day, the Congresswoman from Illinois, Mary Miller, Kevin Kiley, who's the independent from California, who only changed parties because otherwise he's going to lose his congressional seat in November. Hell, he's going to still lose his congressional seat anyway. But at the end of the day, they want to do smoke and mirrors because Republicans don't want to focus on the fact that they are not focusing on the issues the American people want to focus on right now. And I think David Jolly, who's one of our gubernatorial candidates on the Democratic Party, says it best. Americans are sick and tired of culture war issues. I don't know about you. I'm sick to death of it. And I'm somebody whom I'm actively participatory in our electoral process. I work in the political sphere. I'm sick to death of culture wars. I want to get back to focusing on making sure kids get a good public education, and that isn't by focusing on what we call them in the classroom. It's about making sure that kids can do reading and writing at grade level. It's about getting back to fundamental basics, making sure that we have good civic instruction in our schools to make sure our kids know about civic society so that way they can go out into our society and clean up the mess that our generations are creating right now.
Well, it feels to me like they're taking Don't Say Gay on tour.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, you know. I want to go back to Trini because, I mean, he's been a teacher for over 2 decades. I mean, what kind of sexual conversations are happening in elementary school? Can you please tell me that?
This is what I've been trying to tell. This is what, you know, I go on all those conservative sites. Every time they start talking about this, and I say, ask a teacher. You must know a teacher in your life, at your church somewhere, and ask them how much sex education is going on about transgendered people or about sexuality, and they will tell you 0. Yeah. It doesn't happen. We're all struggling just with state testing and with all the issues we have with food insecurity with kids and autism and all of this stuff in our classrooms. We do not talk about those things, and we actively avoid talking about anything sexual with students in any way. Yeah. Okay, so that is not happening. It's what happens is when there's one case in one state somewhere where one teacher does it, and then they put it on Fox News and run it, and they realize when they're losing in the polls, just keep with whatever cultural or issue is going to make people tune into it. So people think, conservatives who watch Fox News think that teachers are bringing drag queens into schools. It's not happening, and they're trying to essentially solve a problem, give a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. Yeah. And they feel like if they just keep saying it over and over and say the word trans enough times, that when people actually are, they think that this is happening, you know? So it's a non-issue, and I am hoping that the American public is hip to this. As much as Donald Trump has been doing all of this smoke and mirrors, that I'm hoping a year and a half into this administration, we realize every time they start to say trans, every time they start to say gay, it's because they're not doing the things that they're supposed to be delivering on, and it's just a polling tactic.
What's creepy is what it is. It's creepy, this obsession that Republicans seem to have with trans people. They're 0.2% of the population. 0.2% of the population.
Not even 1%.
But they are getting this inordinate amount of attention from people who don't know a trans person, who just have these stereotypes from 1967 Pride Parade films that they've seen. And these bills are not to protect students. They're to enrage parents. You enrage parents. What do enraged parents do? Well, they donate to their political candidates so that they can protect their children. Enraged parents will give more money to their church so that they can stand up and God will save them from the evil trans persons coming in. That's what these bills are for. Yeah. It's money. The answer is always money.
If I could add one more thing
Please,
too,
Trini.
is that on the local levels, they already take care of these things. These school boards, the individual school, the school boards, the state level, like they have provisions in place if there is something going on that they need to alert the parents about. And as I was saying before, the school counselors, they deal with this and they make these determinations. To make it at the national level is crazy because every area is different. If you are looking at a school district in Greenwich Village, you may have a larger percentage of children having
Gay parents.
Exactly.
Yes.
To which maybe certain lessons would need to be introduced when you have so many kids with two mommies and two dads, you know? And that's for those areas and those school boards and elected and appointed people in those positions should be handling it. It shouldn't be a one-size-fits-all from the national level.
I'm Jason Nunez, and let's queer up the USA view. Pennsylvania House passes bill blocking whites-only communities, adding LGBTQ protections. The bill, known as HB 2103, which narrowly passed the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, aims to close legal loopholes that allowed an extremist group, Return to the Land, to establish a roughly 160-acre whites-only community in Arkansas. Lawmakers say the measure would prevent similar efforts in Pennsylvania. State Representative Ben Waxman, a Philadelphia Democrat, said the legislation is meant to send a clear message that such developments are not welcome in the Commonwealth. The proposal faced sharp debate, particularly after one amendment merged it with the Fairness Act, which added sexual orientation and gender identity to Pennsylvania's list of protected classes. All House Republicans and one Democrat voted against the bill. Representative Jamie Walsh, a Luzerne County Republican, said, quote, "This would be one way in which protections could be eroded when it comes to girls' athletics," end quote. However, Democrats rejected those claims, saying the bill strictly strengthens civil rights protections. The bill now moves to the Republican-controlled Pennsylvania Senate for consideration. So, this article reminds me of Hidden Figures, the movie, where literally you had to go run all the way across because there was a colored-only bathroom. The fact that this is even an idea that somebody would try to create a whites-only community is insane. There's 5 of us at the table. You two have your own community and we have ours. Like, that's stupid. Like, this is so insulting and 5 steps back for our country, 5 steps back for all of our congressional folks, and it is just how many people who lived in the civil rights area are now literally going to have PTSD just by the sheer fact that this community exists. Because you start one, it goes on tour.
Yeah.
And there's a trickle effect that's going to go state to state. And I mean, out of all places, Arkansas, that would be a place to start it. But I mean, it's going to keep growing and it's just not safe. And when can you be yourself? Like, when do we start recognizing people for who they are and not the color that they are or what they're wearing or their status or their title or anything else? Like,
I miss the days where all the racists were just keeping all that shit at home. You know, like, I mean, again, this is not new stuff. Unfortunately, there have been people from the beginning of time that have always wanted to separate black and brown people away from white people, right? And white is a superior race, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But for, some people overcame and made those people go back in the closet, so to speak, with their shit, and Trump opened that door and gave them a pedestal and a place to be free and be able to be as racist as you want to be,
And the thing is that these things have never gone away. If ironically, I know we're dealing with it specifically in Arkansas, but if we look back specifically across Arkansas history, you're looking at not just Orwell Falbus in the situation in the 60s, you saw these separatist white groups starting to form in the mid to late 80s to 90s when Bill Clinton was governor. And there was a big crisis in, I think it was Northwest Arkansas, where you had these white-only communities popping up. And that's what helped ironically fuel a lot of, and I only learned this because I watched a documentary about it. It helped fuel the situation that happened in Oklahoma City in 1995. It all started in these separatist communities that were happening in Northwest Arkansas surrounded by white separatism. And it spread in through different communities throughout that southern corridor and ultimately helped produce individuals like Timothy McVeigh, helped produce what happened in Waco. So I always like to point out, while this is popping up now, these problems have never truly gone away. It's never been in the ash heap of history. It's still in front of us, and we still need to confront these issues.
Well, look, I mean, again, somebody's thought of whites only, right there. Just a thought, just implementing that thought is disgusting.
I have two thoughts on this. So one is that I think it didn't radically pass because they attached the LGBT protections to it. So by doing that, they made it into something that would be a little bit more controversial with knowing what the makeup is between Republicans and Democrats in their legislature. So it just seems a little weird that they would have put those two things together on the same bill. And the second thing I was thinking of, like, why don't you let them build their white community? Because then the Supreme Court will probably strike it down, and then all the black and brown people need to go and apply in and just fill it with and make it a black and brown community that they originally started. I just think that would be kind of funny. But those are just my two thoughts in my head.
And yes, that would be funny. But the fact is, the Supreme Court just came in today or yesterday and gave a huge body blow to the Voting Rights Act and are saying that majority districts can be unconstitutional. I mean, the Supreme Court is joining in with this movement, and the thing is, it's not just a bunch of people in their nice new little McMansions on 160-acre property of bigotry, right? And remember when it used to be an insult to be called bigot, and now they wear it like a badge of honor? But it's not just that. These people, they are, in general, they're preppers. They're those people that that are armed to the hilt. How many guns do you have? Is this America? Well, then I don't need to fucking tell you. I mean, these are militant people that take racism to a new level. These are dangerous people. I mean, and it used to be separate but equal, but now their thoughts, their train of thought, their mindset is separate and superior.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. Joe Locke to play a pregnant sex worker in the next film. Speculation is growing online that Joe Locke may star in a new sci-fi body horror film titled Baby, though no official confirmation has been made. The Heartstopper actor posted a photo holding flowers with the caption, "That's a wrap, baby," followed by an alien emoji fueling fan theories. Filmcrave.com described the project as a young male sex worker who becomes pregnant by a mysterious creature. The premise has drawn attention in queer online spaces, with some linking it to the long-running mpreg trope in fan fiction. The film is reportedly directed by Sam Max. Fans are now eagerly waiting to learn more. I can't wait. I love to see guys pregnant.
And this whole project started in embryonic form, and now it's just growing and about to be birthed through into the light.
When I was fatter, I used to stand in the shower and I'd rub
your belly,
and I would think
say you were 3 months.
Yes. I would think gosh, if men could be pregnant, I think I would love to feel a baby growing inside of me. I just thought I'd share that with you at the table. LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA view. Grindr White House correspondents' dinner party felt more straight than queer. Grindr's debut at the White House correspondents' dinner weekend drew mixed reactions. The app's Georgetown party became a focal point of the weekend. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, comedian and journalist John Lovett summed up the whole experience in one line, quote, "Who do I gotta blow to get a martini? There was no one." End quote. The event was crowded and soon ran out of alcohol. No. Republicans attended alongside Grindr CEO George Arison and Grindr head of global government affairs Joe Hack. High-profile media figures like Don Lemon and Caitlin Collins were also present. Attendees said straight guests outnumbered queer ones, describing the atmosphere as stuffy rather than celebratory. While turnout was strong, the atmosphere fell short of expectations for a flagship LGBTQ-themed event. I read about this before it happened. I have no idea what the purpose of this was to be. Was to bring the Republicans in, is it that you're wanting to be like to out people or for them to come out? Or is it
I
to
wish
support?
they were outing people. No,
Or to
it was
smoke out Lady G?
It really was funny. It was really just to have an event going on at the same time as a correspondence dinner. You know what I mean? The day before, excuse me. And it was supposed to be a big draw. Everybody wanted to get that invite to the Grindr party.
the gay dating app invite.
But it ended up being mostly, like you read in the story, mostly straight men and straight women that attended.
Do you think they're all straight? Maybe they like said, "Oh, we're the straight ones coming," but they secretly were like, "Let me just see who's here."
Well,
you know?
They ran out of booze, but they still had plenty of poppers.
So you know they didn't invite enough gay people
I'm
then if
guessing
they still
they
had. I'm just saying. And then you know they didn't invite a drag queen. I didn't see a drag queen or anything like that in any of those pictures.
Yeah,
And I would just like to point out that the Grindr White House Correspondents' Dinner event, 0 gun violence, real or imagined.
I think that that was not a good representation of what an LGBT event is like.
Yep.
We have so much more fun than that, and I think Queer News Tonight should host the next party.
It would be different here in Wilton Manors.
Yes.
If that Grindr party was in Wilton Manors, it would be a little
Let me tell
different.
you, all the straights would be lining up outside like, wait, where's that music? We want to be in this event, right? This was not a good representation. Let's try again next year.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. We're going to queer up some entertainment. Hudson Williams joins Amazon MGM culinary thriller Tyrant. The heated rivalry actor is among the latest additions alongside out-singer Omar Apollo. The Tyrant cast also includes Charlize Theron, love her, Julia Garner, hey girl, and Demi Moore, alongside Papa Asidu, known for portraying Severus Snape in the upcoming HBO reboot of Harry Potter, which nobody should watch. Deadline reports that the film is said to be a high-stakes thriller in the vein of Wall Street and Whiplash. David Wheel will direct it from his own screenplay, production already underway, with filming set for LA later this year. Plot details remain under wraps, but fans can watch Williams again in Heated Rivalry Season 2 in April 2027. That's a year from now. I can't wait that long. I'm just going to go watch Heated Rivalry like I did the first time in 2.5 to 3 minute segments.
Watch it in French.
Ooh, la la.
I'm just saying. I mean,
So-
no, this cast seems incredible.
Yeah.
So Hudson Williams, my advice to you, because I know you watch this show, is this is your shot to like break out, to show that you can do something more than what you have been typecast in, or else this is going to be you for the rest of your career. So I hope that you're really putting out all of your acting chops in there and showing that you can do more than what is there. Maybe, who knows, maybe you got a lot more. We love you in Heated Rivalry. Let's see what else you got.
And he's got a heck of a cast to work with, too. I mean, Demi Moore is having a career renaissance right now. Like, in all reality, Charlize Theron, I mean, you can't go wrong. And there's nothing really good that comes out anymore. So, if you can give us something good to go to the theaters for, I'm all for it. In this 1 minute queer news story, let's queer up entertainment. Anne Hathaway says she will fight for LGBTQ equality. It is no secret that The Devil Wears Prada was widely embraced by the LGBTQ plus audiences when it came out in 2006. Now, The Devil Wears Prada 2 is ready for premiere on May 1st. And Anne Hathaway is back to play Andy Sachs. The sequel follows Sachs assisting Presley during a major scandal at Runway magazine. During an interview with Out magazine, Anne Hathaway acknowledged love for the community showcased for the franchise, saying, quote, I had queer community in my heart the entire time we were filming. I knew who I was doing it for. It doesn't make any sense to me that the laws determining human freedom are not applied evenly across the spectrum. I'll fight until it's that way, but in my head, in my heart, I know that that's true. Hands down, we all love Anne Hathaway, and we cannot wait until May 1st. So let's go to the theater and have a great time.
Anne Hathaway is everything, okay? And The Devil Wears Prada, I just rewatched the first one because it hadn't been so long, right? And Friday, me and Jason are going to go see it, and we can't wait to see it. I saw this movie with Anne Hathaway and Matthew McConaughey where they were in space for like 15,000 years, and it was the worst movie known to man, but Anne Hathaway was amazing.
Yes.
Okay? And she does that for so many films. So I, for one, can't wait for this.
I remember she was in Alice in Wonderland. This is like 15 years ago or whatever.
Wow.
So she played the White Queen. Elena Bonham Carter played the Red Queen. So I go in to the room with them to sit down to do the interview, and I plop myself down. And I'm like, oh, look at us, 3 queens. And Helena just started laughing.
How cute.
And looked at me and was like, John. But it was a really great moment, and she's a really great ally.
I love that.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. The Miami-Dade LGBTQ and Allied Chamber of Commerce 2026 Legends Awards honors the top LGBTQ plus leaders. Miami-Dade LGBTQ plus and Allied Chamber of Commerce hosted its second annual Legends Awards on April 25th at the Hilton Miami downtown, recognizing leaders across business, civic life, arts, and community impact. Top honors included the Legend Award presented to George Neary. The Excellence in Business Leadership Award went to Ralph Coutier, while Marielle Epps received Performer of the Year. The Civic Impact Award was awarded to Gabriel Paez. Officer Vanessa Gonzalez was recognized as an emerging leader. The Legends Awards serves as a key fundraising initiative supporting the MDGLCC Foundation, which funds programs focused on entrepreneurship, leadership development, and economic inclusion for LGBTQ plus and allied communities. This was my second biggest event at being at the chamber. I haven't slept in all of April, making sure that this event went off without a hitch. The event created such an experience from the minute you walked in. We designed it in such a way that literally all of your senses were tapped into absorbing and just recognizing that you're in the presence of legends. We had a walkway that created the Hall of Nominees, and it really spotlighted the 25 nominees in our community. After that, you walked into an open space with a cocktail reception, completely different decor, food, music, entertainment, a time to actually meet all of the 25 nominees. Then we transitioned into the awards hall, a completely different environment, to raise the bar and provide a level of elegance and honor to show the 25 nominees, but also to recognize the 5 legends in our community. Mayor Daniela Levine Cava was there, Commissioner Pardo, Commissioner Escalona, and then Miami Beach Alexander Fernandez was also recognized as a community impact because he's always a great advocate for our community in the Miami-Dade area. So this event, I do want to get on my soapbox a little bit. It was pretty badass. Like, I mean, all of my sleepless nights paid off, but more so, it was about an evening of growth. I cannot tell you that I want to do this again, but I can tell you that we have so many legends in our community, and this night truly paid honor and homage to every single one of them.
Well, congratulations to you and everybody over there at MDGLCC for doing an extraordinary job. People were still talking about it come Monday and Tuesday, just talking about what a great time they had Saturday at your event. And, you know, George Neary, that man has so many great stories and holds our history in his head. Marielle Epps is one of the most incredibly talented vocalists, singer-songwriters that I have ever been around. We used to party on South Beach when South Beach was South Beach, and me and her are still alive. Wow. Wow. Gabriel Paez, that man eats, sleeps, and us, you know. So Tracy, everybody that you had there was incredible. Congratulations on an incredible event. We look forward to the 3rd annual. Here's the thing with having a great 2nd annual. You got to beat that one's ass for the 3rd one. So good luck. Get going now.
Thanks.
You might want to get started now.
I think I know of a host. Hostess. Raising the bar, huh?
As a nonprofit LGBTQ media organization, we would like to thank our viewers for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. We'd also like to thank the generous support of Jets Pizza. Jets is the LGBTQ community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. Better, like the world's best pizza, Jet's Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight, and our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to thrive, to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your lead anchor, FayWhat, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, including TriniDaddy, John Hayden, Jason Nunez, and Gil Pontes. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.
Well,